Hey, what's up, guys? The Meds Guy, and welcome to Play by Play. This is going to be kind of like a review type series where I'm going to record my gameplay of a game and then kind of review it as we go through. So this is Mass Effect. This is the first in many episodes of the series. I tried to create a pretty normal looking character, but I'm just not good at it. So you're going to get, like, from the side, he kind of looks like an elf or like a weird person. From the front, he looks a little bit more normal, but not really. So, I tried my best this time, though. So this intro and, I'm not even going to go into the soundtrack because it's just amazing. And there's not, I couldn't spend time talking about the soundtrack because there's so many and they're all so good. So that's what I'm going to say about the soundtrack. But this opening is such an amazing, opening to a game with kind of giving you a small idea of what's going on, giving you this massive kind of opening sequence talking about how, the Mass Effect and things like that. I'm here with my brother's dog, by the way, so she might be going a little fun mode sometimes, who knows. So this intro is just a fun little way for us to get to know players within the series, right? So we have, these guys, and they're like, oh, hey, Commander Shepard. We're getting some different wordings and things with, approach vector and different small phrases, nothing special, and we get this cool little walk through the bridge that I really like, and then it spins around and you get to see your character's face, all serious, looking at the stuff. I think he looks pretty cool personally, but usually I make him kind of crazy looking. Perhaps when we get to the end of the series, I'll get an end of the game recording from my other Mass Effect character and his face, and you can understand the difference between this normal-ish looking character and what I usually make. You know how it'd be, though. And so we get a little cool opening with the loudest sound you'll ever hear in your life, with the Mass Effect field blast when it launches you off elsewhere. And then you get these little opening bits. Joker hates Nihilus. Just because of the Joker's less serious. He can be serious, but he's got a chill nature, so he hates it when people are all serious. I don't know, it's all really cool though. I'll be drinking some Mountain Dew and various drinks during this. For this playthrough, I decided to try to be as honest to myself as possible. Usually I just pick the nicest options and do a really nice playthrough. This time I'm going to be trying to be truer to myself and not just choosing the nice options all the time, even though sometimes I will be doing that. Like in this situation here, I did choose the nicest option because being mean was kind of I don't think I would be very mean. Oh, excuse me. So, sometimes I'll put a straightforward answer in, sometimes I'll say the nice answer, and then sometimes I'll be mean, and you'll see that in this episode. I actually had to record it kind of split in two parts. But now you kind of get this. I missed one of them there, I just noticed that. But you kind of get this part where you get to run around the ship and chat with people. So, I'll be doing that. Now, with these characters, I chose a different class than I usually do, because usually I just choose straight up a soldier-type class, where it's all about weaponry and wielding weaponry. I always get Charm and Intimidate to max before I do anything else, by the way. But yeah, I get these, and this is a good way to get some exposition out of the way, why, certain characters feel certain ways, and, the First Contact War gets mentioned here and stuff like that, and we get to learn about how different characters think about things and things like that. This is a cool way to kind of introduce the choice systems in a more interesting way. Um, but yeah, this little conversation here is just a nice little thing to run some more dialogue options and stuff at the beginning of the game and learn some more. Because, you know, Jenkins, spoiler alert, for like maybe 5 minutes into this, 5 minutes past this point, Jenkins dies. So it's nice to get a little bit of like, oh yeah, like that TikTok where the guy's like, oh, I can't, you know, hey, how's the war going? Oh, I can't wait to go home and see my mom, and then he immediately gets shot in the head or exploded by a rocket or whatever. It's kind of like that, except it's, you know, he's just talking about how excited he is to get some real action in. So this is a good way to get invested in Jenkins a little bit before he dies, just so you feel the way Commander Shepard does to some degree, or I guess he's like, no, he's a commander at this point. Yeah, I think they call him Commander. But yeah, this is kind of just a moment where you get to walk around and chat with people. So I do have the whole conversation, so you can kind of pause and read through it, or kind of keep up with it yourselves. I'll still have the game's audio and stuff in the background, unless my mic wasn't muted, and then it'll just be like music, the copyright free music from Share Factory. By the way, for anybody who's, you know, has anything to say about the dog or whatever, it's nighttime, so there's not much I can do with her right now anyways. Don't want to be too loud. It is a house this time instead of an apartment. Of course, I didn't record the last time my dog sat, but it was an apartment that I was in last time, so I couldn't be very loud, but this time we're in a house, so I can talk at a more normal volume. I'm home alone, or here alone, so I'll probably upload this video as soon as I get done making it. I got some more stuff coming in the future, but I'll save it for an update video. More so just kind of rambling through this conversation so you guys can enjoy it kind of in the background and I can continue talking. Let me talk about the menuing. I noticed I went into the menu earlier, so I'll talk about the menuing a little bit and my choice, of course. No, there's another conversation though, I do believe. But as far as the menuing goes, I really like it, the little circle menu. I think it's a little annoying just because you can kind of misplace your right or left stick, but you know, it's pretty solid. I mean, it's pretty straightforward as well. Nothing too difficult about it either. And then, oh man, I'm trying to. And then as far as leveling up goes, I really like that. I always do like manual leveling for everyone because I want to build the characters exactly how I want them to be. I have specific things that I like every run through. As I said, I did choose a different class this time. So I chose a class with like more like warp and abilities like that, along with shotgun and machine gun or assault rifle mastery. So now we get a little bit about Nihilus here. Yeah, you know, wants to talk alone. I'm not so rude. I don't like. I'm not racist to the aliens in the game. I try not to be racist at all, though I know sometimes I don't. And sometimes I just do it as a joke when everyone around is alright with it. But, you know, I never try to be seriously racist. Only ironically. I'm ironically racist. Which I guess, you know, you can call it seriously racist if you really want to. But the point is, I don't like to be racist to the aliens, so I always try to be nice to them. Unless they say something that's just kind of like that there, where they're like, oh, this isn't a simple shakedown run, but I've already talked to like 2 people who both believe it's not, and so I'm like, yeah, I get it, I know. So of course, to the same degree, I wouldn't want if it. He says it's on a need to know basis, but then like he's telling me right now before we get there, and it's like you could have told me at any point in time if you were going to tell me at all what was going on. And it's funny because it's like there's like Protheans disappeared 50,000 years ago or whatever. Like, yeah, it's a good little lore thing to just kind of toss in real quick. This discovery, yeah. So now we're just getting some more like lore stuff with the Protheans. We're getting a little conversation with everybody. I like the little they have like a little filter, like a little kind of filter underneath the voices of all of the what are they called? Nihilists, Turians. All of the Turians have. I'll probably say it differently a few different times, just because I think some people say Turian and then some people say Turian, and it's like, it's spelled to really work both ways. It just depends. I'll have to listen to an actual Turian say it. I'll try and do something in between as far as pronunciation goes for now, and then maybe in the second episode I'll know for sure. As you can see, this episode is fairly long. I basically just took the first entire area of gameplay and made that the first video, and that's basically how I'm going to do it as best as I can, is basically record individual levels and kind of review each individual level. But now we get some Spectre kind of conversation. We get some council lore about, hey, council, humans aren't on the council. There's stuff like that, I think, was in that conversation. If not, it happens fairly soon. Regardless. Goodness, it's not that late. Yeah, it's only 11. Yeah, so we have a little ground team, and now, here, I always like to go through all of the dialogue and chat and get all of this again, because I usually play this game pretty separated, so it's usually very, hey, here's, like, part one. What about? No. What it is, I basically play the first game, and then I play the second game, and then I play the third game. And so by the time I finish the third game, I've already forgotten everything from the first game. So I kind of remember like the overall kind of story. Like I know what's going on, but I don't remember what anybody says or how anything connects. So I can always go back to the first game by the time I beat the third game. Because usually I beat the third game and then I'm like, well, I'm not going to play this again. And then I go, but I've beaten the first two games twice now. And I beat the third game once. And that took place. It was like I played the first two games like 5 years ago. And then just like last year, right at the end of last year, I played all three games and beat them. So I beat the first two games twice, the third game once, and now I'm going to go through all of them again because I've already forgotten the first two. I'll be the most fresh on the third one, but by the time I get back to it, I won't remember enough for it to matter. And maybe I'll make some different decisions this time that'll receive different endings and things of that sort. So I'm really excited for this series as a whole. I've been interested in doing something similar to this for a while. I didn't know exactly how I was going to, but this is what I've settled on, a little long-form review that goes over each individual section of gameplay. I like... These games did a really good job of meshing like a story-based game with good gameplay. Like I really enjoy like when I get to play the game, But then when cutscenes pop up, I don't feel because of the dialogue options and stuff. I don't feel like I'm left in the dust or anything like that. I feel like I'm still playing. Like I'm still part of the story. Like my character, outside of name alone, is part of the story. But I always feel at the same time like Commander Shepard definitely has a character in this, aside from what we choose that character to be. And so whenever I play this game, also that's really cool. The Reaper showing up here, the only one, and it's just really cool to see a Reaper in the first game, knowing what comes later. And I know it pops up a few more times throughout the game, but you know what I mean when I say that. But like, I'm really excited to play through these games again because, as I said, as I was saying, Commander Shepard, he definitely has a character, but like, you do get to mold it somewhat. Like, he's obviously a guy who wants to save the galaxy and who's, definitely the hero type character, which is why I usually play using the, like, good options. But now I'm trying to play Shepard as more of just straight up a human type character. So I'm not just going to choose all of the same options, because I know if I were in those situations, I may not choose those kinds of options. I may be a little angry. I might be, well, if you could have told me now, why didn't you tell me later, and stuff like that. So I'm going to try and play it more like that, just so I can have a more human experience with the character. See how that goes. And then, of course, we get the Nihilus, I like to be alone more, which just, learning what we learn about Spectres later, and learning about, different things like that. It's kind of cool getting into that and being... This game looks beautiful, by the way. I love everything about it. But, yeah, getting to learn about the Spectres and stuff is really fun. I'm really bad at aiming sometimes. Sometimes I'm not, sometimes I am. Just depends. But yeah, I'm glad that I didn't accidentally throw a grenade when I pressed the touchpad. Oh, you remember what I was saying earlier? Here it is. Gosh. What was... I don't know. I'm trying to think about why they bothered with Jenkins at all. I guess they wanted a third squad mate, either because the game requires a third squad mate, or because... But then again, I think there's that one mission where, towards the end of the game, where you have to use 2 squad mates. Now, typically in this case, I'd be like, he needs a proper burial, but in my position, I didn't really know him that much, so I was like, yeah, we just need to keep moving and get to the beacon. Because in reality, I didn't know Jenkins at all outside of that one conversation. So to me, it wasn't like a big... I don't know why I decided to just flip the camera around like that and do some weird look around viewing angle thing, but I certainly did. I also find it kind of cool that they use little drones at the beginning. Just as training targets at different heights and movements and things of that sort, leading up to proper Geth battles. But I said this earlier, but I really like the gameplay in this game. So you never feel like you're not part of the story, because when you're playing with the game, or when you're using the gameplay, it's good gameplay that works in the story, and it's just fun. You got the power systems and all that kind of stuff, but then on top of that, you also have your gunplay and all that, So it's really fun. So I don't use a whole lot of powers yet, but I am going to try and use more powers in the future. I also am a big fan of assault rifles, which is why I chose the assault rifle special class making. Now, I made a decision to take Williams with us in the most roundabout way. I'm going to be a bit more rude to Williams just because of how much that I talk to Williams in the games and knowing what's going to happen later because I don't want her. And it's like, why do I always choose to take her with me? If that's even an option, because I don't know if you can actually just leave her here or if you have to take her with me. But, or with you. So, that's kind of weird. That's kind of weird how that works out. But then, this is about empty. Guess it's time for the next drink. But I don't know. I always choose to take her, but I definitely could have chosen not to and taken her. Not taken her. I don't remember why or how it works. If you can or cannot take her. The only thing I know for sure is that I don't know anything. Sorry, I totally lost my train of thought there. I don't want her on my team, so later on I make a decision where I'm like, I don't want her on my team, and then Anderson is like, I'm the captain of this ship, and I'm gonna say who's on your team when she's not there, so yeah, that's a thing. Yeah, get the shakies. Very fun. But yeah, now we just got some more conversation about things, and we're gonna hear a line. I can't remember if I'm not sure if she's already said it or not. But there's a line in here about her talking about how the Reaper ship made a sound that drilled into her brain, and so that is going to be said a few times leading up to this point. I like how I was like, hey, Turians? No Turians. Okay. Are you sure, though? No Turians. Alright, let's go. That's basically what happened. And picking those up is about when I remembered that equipment and little things like that work. Of course, I got to level up our boys. So Caden got to get his Sentinel up first and her Soldier up first. And then I had some fun with the menu because the scrolling is still pretty fun. And then we got some Scorpion 1 armor with just some, slightly better defensive stats and whatnot. And then I knew I picked up other stuff. This is the part where I forgot that. That's the part where I forgot that I forgot how to convert stuff into Omnigel or whatever, and I forgot how to equip weapon upgrades and stuff like radioactive rounds and all that. So now we get into more combat, and I chose the normal difficulty, so I have to get used to playing the normal difficulty. Because I don't really play the normal difficulty a whole lot. I'm also really bad with grenades. I usually play the most casual difficulty, whatever the easiest one is, so that I can get the story and enjoy the story on my first playthrough, and then if I really like the game, I'll go back and play on higher difficulties. And by higher difficulties, I mean the next highest difficulty. So I chose the normal difficulty for this, and as you can see, I'm used to just being able to run up to dudes and finishing them off in one hit and being done with it. So my shielding is gone and my health is gone. And then I guess about right there is where I meleeed that bot and it jumps into a cutscene. So I hit it and then it jumped into a cutscene. So that was something I wasn't expecting at all. And then, of course, we get a squad level up. So now I'm going to hop into Intimidate, get Intimidate, and then I'm going to get my Assault Rifle level up so that I can, blast it with Assault Rifle. And from here, we're going to get Sentinel as upgraded as we can, and then start bumping up Decryption. Oh, wait, that's right. I want Decryption and Electronics as fast as possible. And then, of course, she gets Soldier, and then I think I did Assault Training, yeah. So the reason I want Kaidan to be my Decryption guy is because I don't have Garrus yet. And, of course, we get Garrus, super soon. So it's kind of funny because I was like, yeah, I always level up Kaidan for it. Okay, and that's where the next video starts, when I run forwards, I believe. Yeah. And then I get that stuff. So I had to stop recording for something, and then, so I stopped recording. And then I just started recording again when I got back to that to finish making the rest of the video. So they're stitched together now for the rest of the gameplay. Which is, as you can see, totaled almost to an hour basically. Anyhow, I don't remember if I said this, but please excuse my sniffling. I've got some allergy stuff going on, or it's just cold. But, it's not super cold in this house, which is pretty crazy because it's a big house. I figure with the more open room space, it would be colder. Just based on the fact that my room is incredibly tidy at my house, and it's always super hot in there, even though it's cold out right now, for the most part. So now we get this, how they make the husks, and I still don't understand exactly how it works. I'm assuming those pylons, and then of course I pulled out the sniper because you can one-shot them in the casual mode, and when I realized that wasn't going to be the case, I pulled back out the old trusty. Anyhow, from what I think is the pylons are made from the Reaper tech, maybe? Or it's either Reaper tech or Geth tech. But I think they're made from some kind of tech along those lines. And then they stab a dead person through and turn their dead body into a husk by kind of filtering the Reaper's metal into them. Kind of like how Garrus was plugged into the Reaper, I think. I can't remember how they explain it or how they say it, but he basically is like, yeah, I plug into the Reaper, and it gave me all this metal stuff and made me super strong. Excuse me. Anyways, here's me doing some bad menuing and not realizing that that weapon was better than the weapon I currently have. Also, the reason I always have somebody with high decryption and security skills are because I want to be able to decrypt anything at... Basically, I want all decryption spots to be easy. Which is why I level both Kaidan and Garrus' decryption up, so that way if I have to, if the game forces me to be with one of them, or if I have to bring one for a story-based thing where I go to a planet where I'm like, oh yeah, I have to bring Garrus, or I'll bring Kaidan this time. That seems more story appropriate. Whichever it may end up being, I have a guy with high decryption so that I can have easy decryption all the time. So it's almost like in Dark Souls when you get the Ring of Favor and Protection, or when you get Aerith in Final Fantasy VII, because she has the maximum level heals. You always have Aerith because she has the heals, and So you always have one of those two on your... or you always have that, and you always have the Ring of Favor and Protection on. And that only leaves you with, one more ring slot, or however many you have, depending on the game. And so it's I think in Dark Souls 1, you would only have, 2 rings on at a time, if I remember correctly. So if you put the Ring of Favor and Protection on... you can't put another, or you can't take it off, or else it'll break. So it's kind of like that, where you bring Caden in, and then you have Caden and Garrus, and then one other guy is basically what it comes down to, or Caden or Garrus, and then one other guy. And it's like, man, I really wish it didn't have to be that way, but I just don't think there's any other decryption type characters except for maybe Tally. But no, she's more of like a robotics, like, special ability user. But I like this guy too in the game, where he's just basically like, yeah, the Reapers. He's literally telling us like exactly what's gonna happen in the third game. He's like, yeah, the Reapers are gonna come back and decimate us. It just ends everything. And he basically is just sitting here, like, explaining the Reapers' plan to us. And it's really interesting to see it when you have played all three games, and then you come back and hear this guy, and he's basically just outright stating what the Reapers' plans are. And then at that point, of course, their conversation is over. Just some more basic stuff about kind of what happened and all that. I can't remember. I think... Oh, yeah, I pressed, I think, L1 to open up the weapons wheel instead of R1 to open up the powers wheel. Because I'm used to Mass Effect 2 and 3 where you can have, like, shortcut powers activated. Where you can activate them by pressing, like, button combinations. Like, I can press L1 to activate. Usually I have, like, electric rounds and then fire rounds, and then I press L1 for electric and R1 for fire, or whatever it is in the other games. Oh, here's another interesting cutscene. A little off on my go to that, but yeah, here's another interesting... Because they basically just go, here's the villain, straight from the start, and then have this whole... We know he's the villain, but nobody else does kind of storyline go on, and that's really cool. I really like that. So it's interesting, obviously Saren and Nihilus know each other, because they're talking like that. But we don't know who Saren is, so we're just like, what is Saren doing here? But when Nihilus kind of drops his guard, you're like, oh, what is Saren? Like, who is Saren? What's he doing? I meant to get on this bridge, but I hit that rock. They've got some just straight up not climbing on top of stuff hitboxes. Headshot. Boom, headshot. Now, as I said, I'm only bad at aiming sometimes. Sometimes I get 2 headshots in a row real fast. And I probably would have got a third one, which I did, but the husks are stronger than the daggone Geth for some reason. That's why I think it's Reaper tech and not Geth tech. Because I just 2 headshots on the Reapers, but then the husks, or the Geth, but then the husks were like, oh yeah, you're gonna need like 3 headshots to kill us. If you could kill them while they were getting off the pylons, then it would be easy as heck. I think I do use some other stuff. So this is a situation where I chose to be mostly mean, and like kind of neutral with these guys, especially when they started bringing up like, oh yeah, we run a little smuggling ring and stuff like that, and it's because, cowards and, oh, farmer, I don't care if you're farmers, but it's just kind of like when these guys brought up the smuggling ring, I was like, oh great, criminals. These criminals survived, and probably a bunch of innocent, regular people didn't. And of course, I'm sure these guys are regular to some degree, but no criminal is kind of regular. There's always better alternatives in most cases. I won't say that. Well, what I'll say is that sometimes criminal activities are necessary, but they're never good. There's never a time where you can say that somebody doing something criminal is a good thing, because it's, you You definitely don't have to go overboard with your criminal activities. I suppose you could say a criminal activity is good if it doesn't go overboard, but most of the time when somebody's committing some criminal activities, um, you know, we won't get too deep into it. But yeah, so you can see I'm taking a lot more of the bottom options. But I'm also mixing in like good options and things like that because I want to kind of. I'm trying to get to the best outcome, even though I don't think that the outcome changes very much. So I could have chosen Is That All and been a good guy about it, but I chose to go the kind of darker route this time. Just because, I'm talking to. In this situation, I think I would be pretty mad that these, lawbreakers, these criminals, survived and all these innocent people that weren't breaking the law potentially didn't. I know at least some of the people here weren't doing that, so it's like if they're dead and these guys are alive, then more criminals are alive than, innocent people. So we shake him down for everything he's got by being real mean. And then we get another bypass minigame right after it. I really enjoyed this compared to the later. I think Mass Effect 3 was just like hit a button and you're good. And then Mass Effect 2 had the worst like hacking minigames. Understandable, but not my favorite. And then here I am once again, just looking through, making sure we got everything nice and right. And then, of course, I got to check everybody else. So I usually choose a base point. Like, this time I think I choose the armor sets. So I'll go through the base point, and when I get back to the armors, I'll jump over to the next person. And I'm always just checking. I'm like, bigger damage, bigger damage. I'm always looking for the damage. Even if some of the other, like, parts, like the heat sink and all that are lower. Just because, higher damage. You don't really need more heat sink because you can kill them faster. You just got to get good shots in. And they're NPCs, so I don't really care necessarily what kind of damage they're outputting or what kind of, timing they're having to take because they might just switch weapons or use their powers instead. Now, of course, I wanted to loot this stuff before I continued with the Nihilist plot line. So I picked up some more stuff, so basically every time I pick up more stuff, we run through and kind of run with that. So I chose the chemical rounds and the combat sensor. Excuse me. That way I would have access to a radioactive burst kind of fire, and then also, as I said, greater enemy sensing. And then I remembered how to convert to Omnigels, so I just go through and do that. And the reason I hit convert junk, but then it doesn't work because there's no junk. So I always end up having to, instead of converting the junk, I just go through and do it individually because apparently everything isn't considered junk. So of course now we talk to this lad, and I'm gonna be mean to him too, cause once again, criminal who survived because he was napping. In this case, he just happened to go off to take a nap and kind of slack off at work. I'm sure whatever shifts these guys were working were fairly normal, so the fact that he had to go take a nap to get through his shift, I don't know. It feels like in this universe they should have the equipment necessary to where people shouldn't have to take naps. As in, there shouldn't be any situations where they're doing a lot of heavy lifting and hard working of sorts at this point. They should have the stuff necessary to not have to do that. So the fact that he still feels that he needs to go take a nap was kind of bogus to me. And I find it strange that nobody else could get to behind the crates, but I suppose it's better for this guy that they didn't, because they probably would have been spotted. It's kind of strange. I don't think we see a whole lot of, oh my gosh. I don't think we get to see a whole lot of, like, civilian, now, of course, he does have a good point about not fighting back, which I agree with. I mean, what are you going to do? Just go die? He's not a soldier. So, you know, you kind of get what I'm saying? I wouldn't go out there and fight if I don't have a weapon to help. I certainly, you know, basically what I'm saying is if we got Red Dawned, I'm hiding unless I have a weapon nearby that I can use to fight. And there's, like, you know, American military or U.S. military also around me. That way, at the very least, if I go out to help fight, then they can be like actual trained soldiers fighting as well. I'm making decisions that I don't know if I would actually make. I actually thought he was about to shoot him there, and I was like, man, I don't know if I would have gone that far. But, yeah. So now we just get to investigate, just chat more, and, figure this out. Also, I'm kind of sad that I can't remember if it already happened before this cutscene or if it happens at a different point. I think it happens before this cutscene, though, where you get to see the Reaper taking off. I kind of wish I would have got to see that more, because I know I looked at it for like a second, but then I was like, okay, that's enough, I'm going to continue with the game. I wish I would have looked at it more, because I don't think you get to really see it again after that, but we can keep our eyes out now that we're in the post recording phase. I hope you guys enjoy my Callisto Protocol series, by the way, while this is going on. While we continue moving forward. I enjoy, like, the characters and acting and stuff like that in this game, by the way, as well. Just, like, how everything kind of... They're really good at dropping stuff properly. Yeah, and then I put high explosives on here. Thanks to that guy. And then I'll never use grenades properly anyways. Yeah, it already took off. Yeah, those rounds really made a difference. Either that or the Geth are just really that weak. And this is where I try using some powers. It doesn't really work out very well, I don't think. Just because I don't really know. Also, I think I switched to the sniper here because my assault rifle doesn't have the best aim. And this is also, I like to use my other characters' powers. I just don't think that Ashley and I don't think Ashley and Kaidan are the best picks. Also, apparently the no over or low over was that, I don't know if that was like the Reaper or if that was my grenade that caused that giant flash, but whatever it was crazy. And then this guy won't get up, so I think I end up having to run at him. So I decided to use a more close range option. And by that, obviously, I end up going melee, but I meant, like, I suppose my assault rifle is kind of my go-to when I'm not using my sniper rifle. But yeah, this game is really, really fun. And every time I forget how fun it is until I get back into it. You know what? I just remembered we're about to see one of the really fun glitches in this game. There's a few. I've only really caught like two for sure. But here's the first one. of many. Caden walks off the daggone bridge. I guess there was still a Geth or something there. So Caden was still in fight mode and went to go fight him and jumped right off the lift. I think this is where the takeoff happens, maybe. Maybe it's this cutscene. Or after this cutscene. But I don't take a lot of time to look at it. But anyways, yeah, so that's one. There's one in Mass Effect 3 that I don't know if we'll be able to get, where I like how they're in their like stock elevator animations in the cutscene. Yeah, it already happened. But what was it? In the third game, there's a mission where you have to get this diving suit operational and kind of protect the other players. And while you're doing that, what happens? You get the diving suit operational, but if you don't kill all of the enemies before the cutscene starts, then they keep attacking in the cutscene because it's not like pre-rendered or anything like that. This one, this one was close. That shot goes right over my head like that. But yeah, so I am trying to get melee kills because it's one of the requirements I need for the overall platinum I'm trying to get. The game, the Mass Effect Legendary Edition has a Legendary Edition. It has achievements for Mass Effects 1, 2, and 3, the Legendary remakes or remasters or whatever. And then they have Mass Effect Legendary Edition alone, like standalone trophy content. And so I think there's like 4 trophies or something that I need left, and it's like 100 melee kills, and then I think that's on any difficulty, and then I think I have to beat all 3 games on the highest difficulty. So that's a goal. That's one thing I will be doing. I had to pick one of them, and I decided to pick my boy for that weapon. I don't know why I give Ashley so many good weapons and stuff. I'm never going to use her again once I get another team member. Or party member, or whatever you want to call them. I do have intentions to do more videos like these, so if you guys are interested in these long-form play-by-play reviews, then, let me know in the comments. I thought Ashley was Husk. But let me know in the comments if you guys want to see these play-by-plays more, or if you want to see like shorter play-by-plays, like if I do 30-minute versions instead of hour-long versions. Because I have other games that I like to kind of sit down and like replay, and that I enjoy and kind of get into and enjoy without having to commentate, and then coming back and doing post-commentary later and kind of talking through them. So if you guys are interested in that, let me know. Probably going to end up doing it anyways, but I'll do them less if you guys aren't that interested. I'll do other content, because of course I have my playthrough of, or my like let's play, I guess, of Callisto Protocol that I'll be doing, trying to beat it before, trying to beat it before Dead Space comes around. And then, I'll have like regular playthrough content coming up more often. As I said, starting with Callisto Protocol. And in between, I'll be dropping videos like this. And then on my second channel, called In-Depth Things, I don't know how this is kind of hard for me to pronounce. I don't know why I chose that name. I guess it's because it's like specifically like hour-plus long videos. At least an hour. But, really basically long form, in depth videos. That's the concept. So the fact that it didn't take her immediately, I guess she was fighting it. It's not the same as Saren was just like, yeah, take me, but she was trying to get away. And then Shepard just wasn't able to, because he was still kind of tired from throwing her backwards. But, yeah, on in-depth things, I'm doing my Dark Souls 3. You guys saw a few episodes, but I have a Dark Souls 3 walkthrough. And on that channel, I'm doing the Dark Souls 3 walkthrough proper now. Except it's a more proper walkthrough, with more details on, like, motions and movements and things like that. So, if you guys are interested in watching a proper walkthrough of Dark Souls 3, go check out In-Depth Things, where I have, like, 2 or 3 episodes already recorded. Oh, man. I could have done one tonight, but I didn't bring Dark Souls with me, because I was like, oh, I've got all these different... Like, basically I was like, I've got Mass Effect if I want to record another Mass Effect video. I've got plenty of digital games that I can play. So I was like, well, I'll just bring Mass Effect's case, just in case. I didn't even bring, like, another movie, so I don't know why I brought Mass Effect's case, because I don't even, like, have a reason to use Mass Effect's case, or to have Mass Effect's case. Oh, man. This video kind of flew by for me. It was almost like playing the game again. Like, it didn't feel like I played for an hour. It felt like I was playing maybe 30 minutes, maybe half an hour. Like, the game really flies by when you're enjoying these cutscenes and stuff. I guess I just really enjoy these games. And I enjoy talking about the game. And I enjoy talking about stuff in general. I know I got off track with the game a little bit, but as I said, it's more so just to get my thoughts out and kind of review the game in a straightforward, unscripted manner. I guess review is kind of how you could say it. It's more of a why I like the game or whatever. I could do one for Sonic Frontiers hard mode. I know I was gonna stream it, but I just don't feel the need to play it in hard mode. There's only that extra boss fight, and I can always just watch somebody do that. I just don't feel the necessity to replay it for that. That's another reason why it's my second favorite Sonic game instead of my first favorite, just because it just doesn't have the replayability value of Sonic Adventure 2. Now, I had the PC version of Frontiers, and that one would have had replayability because of the mods. Like I'm talking about like physics mods, not like character mods, although those also made it fun. But I couldn't get past the first kind of cutscene thing. Basically, I got to play 1-1 in the cyberspace stage, and then when it got past the second cutscene, and I got to kind of spin the camera around, and you're supposed to spin the camera around to pop up the first tutorial, it was always crash. So unless there's like a mod where I can remove those tutorials, which might not even work, I just couldn't play it, so I refunded it. But I guess maybe a Windows 11 laptop just couldn't run it or something. I thought I had the specifications necessary, because I can run, like, much more extreme games like GTA 5 and stuff like that. So I feel like it's not the stuff on the computer. Like, I don't think it's the software or the hardware or anything like that. I think there was a bug, or I don't know. Maybe it was the mods. But for some reason I just couldn't it just crashed after the third cutscene or whatever. So I was like, well, I'm just going to refund it then. But if I could get the computer version to work for Sonic Frontiers, then it would be my favorite, because I can put Sonic Adventure 2 physics into it. that's what I had, and it felt really fun and really good with Sonic Frontiers or Sonic Adventure 2 physics. So, oh well. Obviously, huge tangent from the game, but we're basically at the end of the video, and I've said what I have to say about this first part. Overall, it's a really good opening. It's a good tutorial. It's a good way to get dialogue stuff and figure out how dialogue stuff and how you want to play the character. You know, good way to see your character like in action, in dialogue, and in gameplay, stuff like that. And then, you know, it's just like a good. It's just a good game. It's just the best way I can put it. It's just a good game. No lie. So, I mean, you know, that's just all I got to say about it. This first section is just a really good starting section. Really good tutorial, really good setup for the story. Like, I'm immersed in the story already. I'm really interested in what's going to come next and all that. I already know what comes next, but I'm invested in it already. So that's kind of where we're at on the first part. We'll see if I still feel that way on the second part. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Like and favorite more. Subscribe for your own reasons. And enjoy the rest of this conversation.
See us as soon as we reach the Citadel. We should be getting close. Head up to the bridge and tell Joker to bring us into dock.